We are the hopeful few. We're going to do an original tune for you next. It's actually being featured right now on Bellevue's very own Beautiful View podcast. Hey, thank you so much. The song's called I'd Go Anywhere As Long As I'm With You.
Welcome to our podcast, where we look for opportunities in our lives to see a beautiful view. I'm Paul.
And I'm Candy. Thank you for joining us today.
If you like what we're doing here and want to partner with us to keep these episodes coming, you can join the Beautiful View Patreon. Your support will help us cover our production costs.
When you join our Patreon, we will send you a Beautiful View sticker. We'll give you a shout out on the show. And every Monday morning, you'll receive a weekly newsletter with insider information and encouragement for your week.
Memberships are only $5 a month, and you can find the link in our show notes.
We are so excited to share with you again today. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the beautiful view.
If we could climb a mighty mountain, float on down a winding river, travel back in time and face our future too. If I'm not scared of where I'm going, 'cause I know whose hand I'm holding. Oh, I'd go anywhere as long as you're going to. And I'd go anywhere as long as I'm with you.
In today's episode, we're going to do something a little different. We are going to chat with our friends Tyler and Kelsie, also known as the Hopeful Few.
Yeah, if you've been listening for a while, you may know that Tyler and Kelsie gifted us with one of their original songs to use on our podcast. They are just the sweetest couple, and while they were in town, we wanted them to share a little bit about themselves and their story with us and our listeners.
Tyler and I go way back. We used to work together in the media department at Crossroads Fellowship in Odessa, Texas. And we've kept in touch over the years, and earlier this year we were able to reconnect with them in person on one of our trips to Texas. When we were there with them, I told them that they should come visit us. We also mentioned that possibly they could get a gig at River Ridge Brewing here in Bellevue, our favorite place to go.
Yeah, and guess what? They took us up on that.
Yes.
So the music that you hear on the show today was actually recorded live from that gig, which is really fun. We could not have been more excited to host them here for the whole week.
We asked them a few questions so that you can get to know them a little better. And if you haven't already, please check out The Hopeful Few on Spotify or Apple Music.
If we could climb a mighty mountain, float on down a winding river, travel back in time, face our future too. If I'm not scared of where I'm going, 'cause I know whose hand I'm holding. Oh, I'd go anywhere as long as you're going to. And I'd go anywhere as long as I'm with you. And I'd go anywhere as long as I'm with you.
We would like to welcome and introduce you to our friends Tyler, Kelsie, and little Mia, the Hopeful Few.
Hi.
Thank you for being here. This is so fun. How was your trip up from Texas?
Our trip up from Texas has been so fun. It really has. Good. It could not. I think I won't name which family member. Well, we definitely had some family members be like, "You're so brave to be driving that far with an 18-month-old baby."
Yeah, I can imagine that's been interesting.
And she traveled like a dream, and all that time on the road together, we were dreaming out loud and singing out loud.
I love that.
It's been a great trip here. So yeah,
awesome,
cool. So, how do you like Bellevue?
It's beautiful. I understand the name. It's so lovely. We got to take a walk yesterday and just look at the river and the trees, and it's really, really, really pretty. Tyler said you can fall in love with anywhere in the fall, but it's especially nice here right now.
It's so magical here right now. It feels. We were saying it feels like a movie. It really just every bit of it feels like we stepped on screen and
that's pretty much how we felt when we first came here too, because we we initially first got here in that first year. I think it was August or September. So it was just before the fall. It was kind of the end of the summer, but it was especially cool that year. So the trees were starting to turn earlier, and we stuck around a little bit longer to kind of see that part. And it was just, this time of year, you couldn't have come at a better time, really. I mean, this is a really, really beautiful time of year here.
And you saw the riverboat, right?
We did, yeah. We were trying to figure out what we had to do to get on the ferry.
Yeah.
which when you grow up in the desert, just every time you're around water, it's just extra romantic, I think. And so, walking down the river, and like you guys said, the colors with the fall colors that are out right now, it's beautiful.
Yeah, and you live around here, and you'll get like friends will invite you to go eat somewhere, and we're going by boat. So you end up, putting in down here and going downriver and
usually,
and go find a restaurant in the next town along, and it's just amazing to be able to do that.
Doesn't that sound fun?
That sounds fun.
Well, maybe if you guys come back in the summertime at some point, then we can arrange a boat ride with somebody.
Yeah.
So I hear you guys listen to our podcast.
We do.
So I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. Of the episodes that you've listened to so far, do you have a favorite?
So I'm tempted to pick something after the pilot episode because our music found its way onto I love the quirky people episode. That's so fun. It's just a peek behind the curtain at you guys and your family and the relational dynamics that
was a fun one.
It play in every family, but especially in a small space in the RV.
Sure.
I loved that episode. But the pilot was really, really, really neat. Y'all's story is so just like out of You Got Mail.
Yeah,
the pilot is such a feel good episode. We listened to that and it just made us want to listen to more of them. So, do you have a favorite?
I can agree. I loved the pilot, but I think I also loved the stuff.
The stuff
episode.
Yeah. It's kind of like, each week I have to kind of plan a couple ahead because we always say what we're going to be talking about next at the end of each podcast. So I always
Which makes us do another one, right?
It makes us do another one. Yeah. There's always and that was kind of intentional too.
Built-in accountability right there.
Yeah. That's really interesting. I'm always curious to know if there was one that kind of stood out to people or whatever. So that's really cool.
Yeah. I haven't had one where I thought, okay, I don't. I've stayed right in all of them.
Absolutely.
We've had a lot of comments from people that just say it's just so easy to listen to. It's like sitting across the table from you or sitting in your living room having a conversation with both of you, and so that makes me feel good because that's what I'm going for.
That's exactly what it is, and why we listen to it. It's a breath of fresh air. And has been for me multiple times in the middle of chaos or a hard day or whatever. It's a breath. It feels like a breath. So
that's cool. That's awesome.
A little bit of background. We've known each other for some time now.
Yeah.
So I think the first time we met was at a church in Midland, Texas.
That's right.
And that was back in I'm gonna say 2006.
It was a long time ago.
Yes.
It was.
And,
I don't like when we start doing math.
No.
So he met you before I met you.
He did.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then you went back to college.
Mm-hmm.
And you took a degree
I did.
in something that you were interested in.
I did. Yeah. Paul was nice enough to give me a job as an intern coming out of college in sound engineering at a large church out in West Texas. And then about 2 weeks later, after he gave me the job as the intern, him and the rest of the media department and the worship department and everybody on staff vacated and left me on the 16-foot man lift trying to hang about 700 balloons. We were right in the middle of At the Movies.
Forgotten about that.
At the movie series, and we had this up theme, and so we were flying a giant scream with helium balloons. And I'm like, I am afraid, and I'm an intern, and I'm by myself. And I'm like, well, I think if I can manage to not break anything and we make it to Sunday, I may actually end up with a full-time job at this place.
Oh my goodness.
But
That's funny.
There were times when we all drove that lift into something.
That's right.
And, so fortunately, it was a large enough congregation that there was always like someone who put down carpet, someone who repaired sheetrock.
That's right.
Repaired curtains.
Because
we hit all of it. That's right.
That's funny. Mm-hmm. So we've known each other for some time, and then you guys met. So tell us a little bit about that.
So yeah, I met Tyler at South Plains College in Levelland, Texas. He was going for an audio engineering degree, and I was going to school for a vocal performance degree. Mm-hmm. And I was actually leading worship for a college service up on stage, and I saw this really cute guy walk in the back door, and wearing his fedora and his curly hair. I got really distracted and had to come back and finish the service. But we met that night, and then later that week, I got a knock on my door. I was hosting a small group, for like a co-ed small group, and got a knock on my door as we were about to start, and it was Tyler. Aww. And I hadn't invited him. Someone else had invited him, but I was so excited. I remember like whispering to my roommate, the cute guy that we met from service, he showed up. Aww. And so we were able to become friends.
Oh, I've been searching for you.
So your new EP is called Searching. Yes. So talk to us about the process of putting together the songs, writing the songs, and the recording. I mean, like, obviously that's a long story, but the highlights of it, like how do you, and this isn't the first set of recordings you guys have done, right?
Right.
But what is the process when you approach a project like this? Like, how do you find the inspiration to come up with song lyrics and
who does that part?
Yeah.
Is that more Kelsie?
So it's a pretty even blend as far as lyric writing for both of us. Mm-hmm. And this project has been a lot of fun because it's been a lot more time in the making. Mm-hmm. We've been working on this collection of songs for 6 years, not even realizing that we were like just more writing out of just as a way to process our world, really. Mm-hmm. And over time, the collection just started to develop, and so. But yeah, we probably half the lyrics on the album are Kelsie, and half are
that's super cool.
Are me, and the same thing.
You're the better lyricist.
Well, but I'm not the vocal performance. and that translates for sure. But no, I mean the whole this process has been super fun on the recording side. We did a live album. That was worship music that was just Kelsie on, and we did that several years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, and this one, like I said, we've got to take our time more and really ask each other as the song makes its way to paper and then to the acoustic guitar and just to on our voices in that setting, we get to start asking each other like, okay, what kind of song is it? Like, what does this song sound like? What does this song feel like? And start thinking through production in that way, and so it's ended up with a really fun collection that's got big band blues on it and 90s country on it.
You've got such a mix on this one. So how did you, I mean, is it just coincidence or did you do that on purpose just to kind of have a variety of things or?
It really has just been kind of a process of asking each other, what does this song want?
Yeah.
We didn't set out to be country artists or Americana artists or blues artists. Although I do think probably our true north falls somewhere in the blues lane somewhere. I would think. Yeah. Just Kelsey's voice is just so suited for R&B and blues and and soul music and funk music.
It's very soothing.
It's
just a very soothing voice.
Yeah,
Thank you.
That's our running lane, I think, for sure. And so that's probably where we feel most comfortable. But it's just really been a process of like, did we just write a country song or did we just write an acoustic wedding song? Like, what did we just write? And just trying to steward the song, because the songwriting process for us is very, there's always a moment where there's a deposit that we feel like a deposit gets made in us. Like there's a piece of gold in every song that we don't feel like we manufactured out of nothing. It just somehow appears in our hearts, and we just know, okay, this is an idea that has to be stewarded out to the end.
Yeah, I love
and so that's where the framework starts to be built around things. And so, it's really just been a process of stewardship, but a lot of fun.
You're the best friend that I've ever had.
We got to take Mia into studio with us multiple times, and that was...
Did she love the music?
She did. She loved it. She was a lot younger then. She was just a small baby, and she loved it. And it was just... It felt really significant to us.
Sure, yeah.
A lot of... Or everyone, I'm sure feels like they're passing something down to their kids. And we really felt like this is something that we're doing not just for us and other people, but really for her. And so it was neat to have her in studio and get her giggle on one of the songs.
She's laughing on the song that we released on her first birthday. We mic'd her up, and I'm sure our sound engineer was scratching his head, wondering what our thought process was there, but it worked. It was a really sweet moment.
Say you'll stay with me, please stay right here, my love. Please stay right here, my love. Please stay right here, my love.
There's more to come, right?
There's more to come. Lord willing, we've got. We feel like we've got a full length album collection, and so we'll be back in the studio. We're on tour now, but we'll be back in Texas right around Thanksgiving, and we'll jump right back into studio. And the plan is the sister EP should be out in the spring, Lord willing. So this is the Searching EP, and hopefully the Found EP will be out in the spring.
Oh, wow, that's
very cool.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you're on tour right now. So you're going to be playing here in Bellevue on Saturday. Which by the time this gets released, that will have already happened. But for when you leave Bellevue, you're heading to Rhode Island? Is that right?
That's right.
We're going to all night it all the way up to New England, and we'll be...
Whoa.
We'll be doing shows across multiple states there in the New England area, upstate New York and Massachusetts and Rhode Island, and it's going to be...
So if someone listening to this podcast wants to get you on their books, how would they go about booking you?
Absolutely. The easiest way would probably be through our website, which is just thehopefulfew.com. We have a contact form on there.
Perfect.
But you can also find us on social platforms, on Instagram and Facebook, just The Hopeful Few.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. Very cool.
And there'll be links in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll put a link in the show notes to this as well. So you're doing kind of New England, and then are you going down the East Coast and then back around to Texas?
That's right.
We are. So we have an additional stop in South Carolina.
Okay.
And we'll be playing there and enjoying some time there, and then we'll head back to Texas after that.
Super. Wow, you're going to get to see a lot of country.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah. Kind of a little bit jealous.
I know.
Want to get back on the road.
Yeah, and they'll be home for winter in Texas, where we'll be in the snow.
Yeah. Deep
snow.
Yeah. So thank you so much for allowing us like we could say this in person now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for allowing us to use the song on the podcast.
Absolutely.
So you sent me an advance copy of that song just to get my opinion on mix and stuff, and if you ask me, I've always got an opinion. And I called Candy in there, and we played it, and I played it for her, and I'm like, this could be our theme song. Not meaning the podcast, like a live theme song. So I know
perfect.
I know what that means to us when we first heard the song, but what does it mean to you guys when you were writing the lyrics to the song? What did it mean to you?
I may have to let you answer this one. I'm getting teary-eyed just thinking about what it means to us. So you go for it.
We started writing this song at 5 a.m, and the sun was coming up in our rearview mirror, and we could see the moon out in front of us, and we were being silly and like writing nursery rhymes to try to keep each other awake. We're nodding off to one another, and so it didn't start out as a song. It started out as a safety exercise to behind the wheel.
Stay awake.
Stay on the road.
I was dropping Kelsie off for a coffee meeting she had that morning at 6 a.m. and I sat out in the parking lot in this little downtown area in a small town in Texas, and at 6 a.m. started just fleshing through some of what had come out of our rhyming session, and just thinking about Kelsie sitting out there out in the pickup writing this song. Really, it's just the great joy of my life to get to do all of the adventure with her.
Yeah.
And so just over time we knew that story is one that you guys share, and that there are lots of people on the planet that are lucky enough to find the person that they want to go do it all with.
Yes.
And that starts with dreaming, and so that song really that first verse is about dreaming together when you're in love, and then it kind of, which you see a lot in young love and early love, but if you're really fortunate, that's a cycle you get to come back to and dream together all along the way. But
I love that.
But then we talk about going. So we say, what do you say we go up to the moon? And so that starts. What do you say we got just crazy kid dreaming together?
Sky's the limit.
Yeah.
And
we
then,
don't ever do that.
That's how you end up on the road for 6 years. Is those kinds of conversations.
It is.
But then the second verse is about really just kind of coming back down from some of that, but starting to put flesh on some of those bones and those ideas, and the idea that the whole world still is laid out in front of you, and you get to go kind of create the abundant life together.
Yeah.
And so that it says, what do you say we go down to the sea, because there is no end to the sea, I guess.
I love it. It. It's a great song.
Thank you so much. But then the last verse is where we landed. Paul and Candy walked in to us this morning, and I had bedhead. Like I looked like a bruise. My hair was sticking straight. The last verse is, what do you say we just stay home instead? And it's about learning to rest together when you're in love, because that's really important too.
It is important.
It's I'm so thankful to know. I was so thankful to know that it connected with you guys when you heard it the way that it did.
Yeah.
It really did.
I'm so glad.
Super cool.
And that's part of stewarding, I think, is God gives us a story, and it's our job to share the story, and then
Absolutely.
However it connects is not necessarily up to us. We just can't bury it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anytime when we start something new, there's always challenges involved. That's part of what we try and communicate in the podcast is there's going to be challenges. Like you can't pretend like everything's going to be rosy, but it's about how you handle those challenges. So when you first began the project with the Hopeful Few and thinking about the new EP, what were some of the challenges that you guys faced, and how did you get past those?
Whenever we decided to go ahead and record, we had an infant.
Yes.
So big challenge. Just scheduling and finding the time and the resources while you have this new little life that you're responsible for.
Sure.
And also just balancing our current jobs at that time with
right, because you were both working, right, as well as doing this and full-time jobs, and
yeah. So just trying to balance our work life with this additional thing that we felt like the Lord was really spurring us on to do, in addition to knowing in our hearts, like, we really just want to spend every minute of our day with our new baby.
Yeah, of course.
And so I think just managing all of that was a challenge.
Yeah, and I think like group decision making is always a challenge. Like if the family's trying to decide where they're going to go eat, everybody goes, I don't care where we go eat, until you actually start the discussion, right? And like group decision making is tough to do, and so that plays out in studio for sure.
Yes,
where both of us feel just deep conviction about the way that we want to share these songs and these stories.
Sure.
And Kelsie's has an unbelievable, just brilliant mind when it comes to production and creativity. And I also have a lot of opinions about production and creativity, and
also a brilliant creative mind.
Well, thank you. But that's an ongoing tension.
Those brilliant creative minds, right?
That's exactly right. Because there's times where I'm like, no, we've got to do it this way, and she's so that's always a challenge of landing on like, okay, this. But the fun thing about this is not a solo project. This is our project, and so we're gonna get in line together.
Sure.
We're gonna work at it until we find the best version of it that we can. So I think team dynamics always play into the challenge, but it also, it's part of the refining. I think it makes it better. So.
Yeah.
So what is the biggest thing you would say that you've learned from this experience, either individually or as a couple? What's your takeaway, your growth takeaway?
One thing that's been very real in this season. So when we started the recording process, we were also both working full-time jobs in addition to this. But when we're talking to you now, like, this is the full-time gig now.
Yeah.
Playing our music. At River Ridge Brewing and venues all over the country, and making music, and it's amazing to get to do. But that's the new challenge with all of that for us is familiar in a lot of ways. But just we have this desire for control, to know what's coming next, to know when it's coming, and life on the road, which I'm sure you can attest to, is just not, you can't control it. No. There's just there are always new variables and always things changing. And
absolutely.
And I, so just learning to kind of loosen the grip a little bit and walk more palms up into what's in front of us, I think has been a big part of it for me. So.
Sure.
I love your answer, Tyler. I think a more maybe like lighthearted side to the answer is I've learned that I love the way that you produce music just as much or more than the way that I would have done it. Like ideas that maybe I felt unsure about in the beginning, I've ended up completely loving, and that's been fun to go in studio and hear you say, no, we've got to get this horn part right. And I'm thinking, I think we should try this. I think we should try something different. And hearing our final result and just loving it and knowing that was Tyler's idea. It's been neat.
Yeah. So do you feel like as a couple, it's kind of like strengthened your reliance on each other? Is that the right word? Kind of like your trust in each other, I guess, just kind of with that stuff? Or do you feel like that's kind of a benefit there?
I think I feel like we're better at celebrating each other maybe than we were early in the process of just knowing like whatever you produce, I'm going to love.
Yeah.
I love you and you're awesome.
Yeah.
I don't like however it works out. That's been a really freeing and fun thing. There's been a lot of celebrating each other through the whole process.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So during the recording process, while you've been on tour, have there been any embarrassing or awkward situations that you've had to has happened to you, or you've had to deal with?
We were talking about this a moment ago, but my uncle noticed that Tyler and I were having this silent exchange in the middle of our mid-song, yeah, and the thing is that I struggle with remembering lyrics.
Every song.
And I forgot some of the words, or at least a word, and Tyler looks over at me, and this happens every show. Like, at some point, I'm going to forget a word, and he's going to look at me like, I can't believe you forgot that word. And I'm going to look at him, going to look back at him like, you better stop looking at me like that, or
it's going to go down right here in front of everybody. I'm just going to let
you finish the show by yourself. I'm going to walk away. And so that happens all the time, and we had thought that it was more subtle, that nobody knew that was happening. We thought, that's just us. We're just communicating between our eyes, with our eyes. And then my uncle ended up speaking up and saying, hey, I kind of noticed, was this going on? And it was embarrassing. It was funny. We were like, oh my goodness.
We didn't realize we were so obvious, right?
Called out for our silent fight.
Yes.
So just funny. One word. You just forgot one word.
I'm sure it couldn't have just been one word.
That's what she said. She said
I heard what she said. No, it might have been. It might have been just one. I might have been extra particular that night for no reason at all.
That is so funny. Well, I am so glad that we get to be just a small part of your journey. We love your story and your testimony of hope, and how that obviously influenced many aspects of your life, but including the name of your band. Would you mind sharing a little bit of your story of hope with our listeners?
We would be glad to. It's the reason we got in gear and put this music into motion in the first place is because we knew that we started to see this central theme of hope emerging in all of it, and that was going to be our story that we needed to share, that people needed to hear. Mm-hmm. So Kelsie and I have been married almost 10 years now, and we spent years and years trying to have a baby, years and years. And when you pray the same prayer every day for a couple thousand days in a row, and don't get the answer that you're hoping for, you start to build calluses on your heart.
Sure.
When every 30 days goes by, and that's another set of no's to 30 days worth of prayer, you just start to build calluses and try to deflect, and because you're trying to preserve the ember of faith that you still have inside, and so you're trying to protect that. And so when years go by, and just as hope is all but lost, then the miracle moment happens, and we get our first yes, and we find out we're going to have a baby, and all of a sudden it's not 5 years worth of no's, it's 5 years worth of yeses all in one moment.
It was a timing thing.
That's right. That's right. And so that was where we ended up going from being just Kelsie and Tyler music to the Hopeful Few. It was when we found out we were pregnant, and we've been performing all of our music and putting out our music under that name since we found out we were pregnant. And that's the beginning of the story. But the next part of the story is that after 6 months of healthy, happy, worry-free pregnancy, Kelsie went into early labor 6 months in, and Mia was born 13 weeks premature. She weighed 1 pound and 13 ounces when she was born.
That's hard to imagine.
It was wild.
Yeah.
It was the hardest and sweetest thing that we've ever had to take on, and we spent half of last year in the NICU, at Texas Children's Hospital in Houston, Texas. Just watching Mia fight and grow, and I think I had more faith that she would get through it than I did that I would get through it. But it's where we stand today. It looks like a happy ending because Mia's here with us on tour, and she's 18 months old.
And you would never know that there's anything wrong with her now.
That's exactly
She
right.
is a bubbling little thing.
She's a toddler.
She is a toddler. She's
a
cute as
toddler
can be.
in every way right now, and I'm sure she's given Emily, Paul and Candy's daughter Emily are taking care of. She's taking care of Mia right now. I'm sure she's giving her all the fun she can handle.
Oh yeah, Emily's loving every minute of it. I've no doubt.
Yeah. So for most people, pregnancy is a season where hope really feels magnified and like it's under a microscope, and you just become so hopeful. You're so. That's just really the best word I can think of to describe the way that you feel whenever you're expecting something, maybe beyond the word expectant. You're just hopeful. And so, like Tyler said, that word and that theme continue to show up for us, but it really, the light bulb came on for us that was our message that we've been given whenever we were pregnant with Mia, and then since then, through her story and all of that, it's just been something that we've clung to, and that has brought us through the difficult season, and then also just this sweet time that we've got to be with her at home now, is that hope doesn't disappoint.
Yeah, I love that. Love it.
Yeah, we try to hold on to some promises in our life and some reminders when life does get hard. And so a big one for us, especially in the last few years, has just been the reminder that perseverance will produce character.
Yeah.
It will.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then out of that character comes hope.
Yeah.
And it's hope that doesn't disappoint. And so once the day we brought Mia home from the hospital. Mia was born. She's a celebration baby.
She's a party baby.
She's a party baby. She was born on St. Patrick's Day.
Okay.
And came home on July 4th to fireworks and all. And
just for her.
Just for her. And
for her.
every time one goes off, we remember.
That's really cool.
But I think we got home and just got to see the journey we had been through. We now have this tangible story at our fingertips of perseverance producing character, and character producing hope. And I, once we got home with Mia, we talked about it, and if Mia hadn't come home with us, we wouldn't have shared this music.
Yeah,
we just wouldn't have.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I get that.
And
she did, and we are.
She did, and we are.
Yeah. That's amazing.
I know this is you may want to edit this part out, but I know that this week is a reminder for you guys.
Yes.
In that way.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That I heard you say there's leftover birthday cake, and I just kind of assumed that might have been that might have been the birthday. Yeah. And so we love you guys. I wanted to put it in writing and just couldn't say it, but I just can't. We just love you guys, and I know that this week is a hard week every year.
It's certainly something that has developed as the years go by, and it's so funny, like you said in your post, that how things that had changed this year into like you just wondering what it would have been.
Yeah.
And I was like wondering about that, and I was talking to our son Tyler, on the way back from his early bird session at school this morning, about that, and asking him if he ever thought about that, and so it's been different every year, and a gradual process of that has, I mean, obviously the whole experience has built character in us.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
and spurs us on in hope to do what we are trying to, do now, which is just to be obedient.
Yeah, but it also allows us to empathize with people who are going through, similar circumstances, or like you guys even, when you were in the NICU, like we felt that, like every bit of that.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and you were in there for a lot longer than we were.
Oh, yeah.
And then you see all of the other babies in there and the other families trying to deal with it as well. That's...
And you realize just like people are in this story. They're up to their elbows in this story all around us. And we just don't even know. Like this is a part of y'all's story that when we met and when we worked together in West Texas, that I just was either too young or too dumb to ask the right kind of questions to even know this part of your story at that point in our life and our relationship.
I don't know that we were sharing it a lot at that point.
Really were.
We were pretty screwed up at that point.
I had personally like just dived into work to cover it up.
Yeah.
And so I didn't deal with it at all. And so that came out in various ways, dysfunction. And so it's different for, both of us. We both went through it in different ways.
Yeah.
But at the other side of it all, we found each other.
Yeah. And hope.
Yeah.
And that's our testimony as well. So I think that's really interesting how we kind of connect like that. So yeah. So I just wonder if you have anything that you've thought of since we've been talking or anything that you would like to share with our listeners that we haven't already covered.
The thing that comes to mind for me is just for your listeners, if they don't know you, if they don't have the pleasure of knowing you in day-to-day life, just coming from someone else, just to tell them that you guys are wonderful. Aww. You've been really lovely hosts and genuine. I think I saw there's a sign in your office. What does it say?
Playful.
Like, disruptive.
Disruptive.
Playful and authentic, I think.
Yes.
Authentic. Okay. Yeah. And that really spoke to me. And before I saw the sign, I felt that way about your lives and the way that you're living now. And I saw that sign and I thought, it
fits.
That's it. And so I just hope that your listeners can hear that through your voice and just hear from an outsider that it's true. And
thank you.
And I think for me, like one reason it was really easy to say yes when you guys said, hey, can we use your music as the theme show for the theme song for the podcast, for the intro music, and why we love the podcast is you guys are stewarding so well the perspective that God's given you to see the world. Like this is a podcast. It's so lighthearted and so fun and so uplifting, and it's such a breath for us when we listen to it. But it's a reminder to open your eyes and be grateful.
Yeah.
And you guys deliver that message so well, and you're stewarding that message so well. And it's one that we want to slow down and echo because that it changes. It gives you the opportunity to find abundance in your world when you have the eyes to see that it's all around you already. Yeah.
And I think that's the challenge that's put in front of us as people of faith is to share, because that's not the easiest thing to do. I mean, you can go through life and perform perfectly well in the community and in your job and your career and in church even, and you can do really well. But if you don't share what you have personally experienced, then you're denying that aspect of your life that took so much to develop for other people. And I heard it and I think I mentioned it before, but the gospel is something that we get on its way to someone else. So the gospel personalizes itself. That gospel of hope, a message of hope, personalizes itself in our lives, and it forms itself around our experiences. And if we don't share that, then it stops with us.
Right.
And so that is a responsibility that in the end, we felt like, no matter what it takes and no matter what the results are, we have to sit behind a microphone, and for you guys, sing behind a microphone. Mm-hmm. And we have to just put ourselves out there, because otherwise it stops with us.
And there's so much power in a story.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, there is.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for being here and sharing with us. And this has just been so great, and we really appreciate it. And we want to wish you the very best on your journey.
Yeah, for sure.
And we'll be praying for you as you continue to share your music and testimony of hope along the way.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
We are so thankful for the time we got to spend with Tyler, Kelsie, and little Mia.
Yes, it was such a treat to have them here. They have such a powerful and beautiful story of faith, hope, and love.
In our podcast, we always try to focus on looking for opportunities in life to see a beautiful view. Mm-hmm. The fact is that sometimes life throws us curveballs, and sometimes it's hard to see the beauty in a situation when we're in the middle of it. But usually, if we look really carefully, we can almost always find some kind of beauty in every situation.
They did a great job when they played here at River Ridge Brewing. It was so much fun to watch them do their thing and be there to support them. And a huge shout out to everyone who came out with us to listen to them and enjoy that beautiful fall afternoon on the Mississippi River.
I truly believe that there is always something beautiful that can come out of the most difficult of situations. Everything we face in this life, both good and bad, helps to shape us into exactly the person we were created to be. It teaches us empathy and compassion toward others. The Bible tells us in Galatians 6:2 to share each other's burdens.
So, if you're listening to this episode and you find yourself facing a difficult situation, we would love to pray with you. Shoot us a message on social media or email us at beautifulviewpod@gmail.com.
If we can just offer you a tiny bit of hope and encouragement, we would be happy to do so. Sometimes it just helps to share the burden with someone.
Yes. Thank you for listening today. If you know of someone who would enjoy this podcast, please let them know. Visit us at Beautiful View Podcast on Facebook or Instagram. Share our posts or share the link to the podcast. Our next episode, we are calling Say What?
We have learned a lot about ourselves and our communication styles since beginning this podcast.
Yes, we have.
Both the things we do well and the things we might need to work on.
The things that I might need to work on.
It's going to be a fun one. We're going to be talking about the importance of good communication between couples and with our kids.
Yes. And just a reminder, please consider joining the Beautiful View Patreon. This helps us keep these episodes coming and to cover our costs. Again, the link is in our show notes and it's also on our social media accounts.
We hope you have a great day, and remember to always keep an eye open for opportunities in life to see a beautiful view.
We could climb a mighty mountain, float on down a winding river, travel back in time and face our future too. Oh, I'm not scared of where I'm going, 'cause I know whose hands I'm holding. Oh, I'd go anywhere as long as you're going too. And I'd go anywhere as long as I'm with you. Yeah, I'd go